Give Rudy a hand with his carton, will you? I want to borrow my son for a minute.
Look, Dad, if you want to talk to me, why don't you call me at home? I got to work with these guys.
How's Rita?
Same.
Well, I'm sure she'll be out of the hospital very soon. She's probably just overtired.
She's very seriously ill.
She's in very good hands, Norman. Does she know you're working here?
Not yet.
I'm sure she'll be very pleased. How about Rodney?
Yeah, he knows.
What was his reaction?
Surprised. What do you want, Dad?
Well, I'm very glad you're working for me, Norman. After a respectable time has passed, I'm going to have you come into the office. Let you get a feel of what it's like to run a mill like this.
Oh. I'm only staying here as long as it takes me to get the money to pay Rita's medical bills.
Well, we'll see. At any rate, I'm glad you're here. You know, Norman, I would have offered you a job. You didn't have to pressure me.
Well, why didn't you? Why did you wait until I threatened to go to the police?
You didn't threaten me, Norman. You wouldn't have done that to your father.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, I'm sure. At any event, I don't think you should mention what you said to me.
I won't.
Especially to Rodney and Rita. They needn't know.
I wouldn't tell him, because I'm ashamed of what I did.
There's nothing to be ashamed of, Norman.
Oh, is that right? Well, how often does a son have to threaten his father with blackmail in order to get a job?
You were very upset. You were frightened about Rita's condition.
Dad, I saw you sneaking around Chandler's jail window. Just before he somehow managed to escape.
That doesn't prove anything, Norman, and you know it.
Yes, it does. It proves that you were so frightened that I might tell someone that you gave me this job. Then you come around here pretending to visit. Worried about Rita. Well, you've never done that before, Dad, so you must be worried about something.
You're talking nonsense.
What were you doing then?
That's enough, Norman.
And even now that you gave me this job, you still can't trust me, can you?
That's enough.
I gotta get back to work.
Hello, Mary. It's Mr. Peyton.
He's in the living room, Dr. Rossi.
Good afternoon, Dr. Rossi. I thought that now you were chief of staff, you wouldn't have time.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Peyton.
Oh, well, over here. We won't be disturbed here. Sit down, Rossi.
This is about your house guest, Adrienne Van Lyden.
Yes, well, what about her?
She's poisoned.
What sort of a diagnosis is that?
Accurate. Deadly accurate.
I've never heard her mention your name. I didn't know you knew her.
I've never met her.
You come into my house and make accusations against a person you've never met, never known, had no personal contact with, and who has the gall to...
I've never had any personal contact with the plague either, Mr. Peyton, but I know how deadly it can be. After what Dr. Van Lyden did for you, how in heaven's name can you bring his widow into your home like this? He saved your life. He kept you alive, while everyone else was telling you to put your affairs in order.
I'm very well aware of my debt to Dr. Van Lyden. I paid that debt with the money I pumped into his research program while he was alive.
Yes, and he'd still be alive today, working in that research program, if it wasn't for the very woman you have in your home as a house guest. And you know that, don't you?
I believe I don't know what you're talking about. But I did hear some rumors, vicious rumors, about Adrienne. But she was unfortunate enough to be a young and beautiful widow of an older and famous man who died an unfortunate death.
Fell to his death, the coroner's report said. Fell to his death. She destroyed him.
How dare you say such things about Adrienne?
Facts, Mr. Peyton. Before Dr. Van Lyden married her, he was conducting the most advanced, the most promising research in the field of leukemia. Then he gave it all up for a soft, better-paying job as a consultant. A year after that, he was broke and dead. I was working on a research team that he supervised. I saw the change that took place in him. And the only new element in his life was his beautiful, young, jet-set wife. The next time I saw him was nearly a year ago in New York. It was quite a shock. He tell you anything about the changes, the advancements that had taken place in the field of leukemia. But he could tell you everything you needed to know about psychedelics. He couldn't even remember the names of the men he had worked with over the past 10 years. But he could tell you the 10 best-dressed women of the year because his wife got honorable mention.
Well, all right, you have a point. He shouldn't have married such a young woman. A woman whose taste and interest were so different from his own. But it was his own decision, his own fault.
It's not as simple as all that. Don't you see? She drove him. She squashed him. She actually absorbed him until there was nothing left. He fell to his death. I'm not insinuating that she pushed him, but by her ambition, by her extravagance, by her complete disregard for him as a human being, she destroyed him.
Such strong feelings against a woman you've never met.
It doesn't make any difference. You can have strong feelings about someone you've never met. After I learned of Van Lyden's death, I went to see the, quote, bereaved widow, unquote. She had left the country.
Oh, she was very distraught over his death.
That isn't why she went to Europe.
What is your source of information? A bunch of disgruntled and unemployed research workers?
No. A bunch of her friends who couldn't afford to go to Europe with her, but could afford to tell me why she went.
I think you're being very unprofessional, Doctor. Making accusations against a personal friend of mine.
Why did you bring her here?
You're very skillful, Doctor. But I must tell you to your face, you have no touch at all for character assassination.
Why in heaven's name did you bring her here?
Ah, Adrienne.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
Dr. Rossi, disapprove of your marriage to Dr. Van Lyden?
You're asking some very personal questions, considering you haven't said yet whether you'll handle my case.
You visited Chandler in his cell.
Because his attorney asked me to.
But why?
Let me tell you something, tough guy. You're on my turf now, so ease off.